This is a Southern Railway trip from New Albany, Indiana to Huntingburg, Indiana, September the 22nd and 23rd of 1984 with the Southern F units, the FP7 units. We're running here along the countryside outside Georgetown, Indiana. Headed westbound. There's part of the buildings of Georgetown off to the right. A good shot of it running through the countryside of southern Indiana. State Highway 64 parallels the Southern Railway track in this area. The train is being chased and paced. Milltown, Indiana. The passenger train is approaching, gates going down. One of the quaint towns in southern Indiana. A beautiful setting for the railway run. Pacing the train as it's headed west to Huntingburg. The lead unit on this is the 3496, trailed by 3499. The F units, covered wagons, were built in 1950, and these were the final four in the last batch. They were around till 1987. On a sweeping curve outside of town, headed toward Huntingburg. These units were also used in their executive fleet of the office cars when they came to the Kentucky Derby each year. Train being brought up by the Lookout Mountain. Open observation on the rear. Being filmed from the chase car today on State Road 64. Running at track speed. The F units at the Southern had these covered wagons were real popular with the rail fans and made for a nice train. Coming around a sweeping curve on State Road 64. Oh, we're lucky. We're meeting a freight meet here. Look what's bringing up the rear. Center cab 44-ton switcher and a 7 caboose. A good shot of the head-end power on this day's train. Getting a good shot of the railroad re-railing crane or any other construction that needed to be done. This is preferably called by the rail fans the big hook. There is a shot of the big hook to re-rail the cars that have derailed or locomotives or anything that needs the power. There's the coaches that also comes along with the work train for the crew. So they can work and re-rail and get the trains back on the line and stay as long as they need on the work site. Headed east after leaving Huntingburg, where you just got done viewing the work train. This was good country along here that you could take and pace for long distances, as the state road ran right beside the railroad track. You couldn't want it any better. Again, the F unit's running at track speed as we're pacing the train, headed back to New Albany. Sweeping curve. Coming through one of the smaller towns in southern Indiana. Again, a shot of the Lookout Mountain. Young rail fan waving at the crew. Crossing one of the many crossings of the county road. This is the cut at DePaul, Indiana. You're looking east now as the train's making its approach. This is a high fill through here. They made this cut around one of the many tunnels that was on the line years ago. Approaching Duncan Tunnel at Edwardsville, Indiana. Coming around the fill in New Albany, Indiana, approaching the Kentucky and Indiana Terminal Railway Bridge that goes over the Ohio River from New Albany to Louisville. The double track mains crossing the Kenai Bridge here at New Albany, headed south over to Louisville, Kentucky, and the yards of the Kentucky and Indiana Terminal Railway. Day 2, September the 23rd, 1984, with the Southern F units again headed toward Huntingburg, Indiana from New Albany. You're going through the southern Indiana countryside. There's one of the block signals along the rail line. Heads up, headed into the tunnel at English, Indiana. We just exited the tunnel. Just rounded a sweeping curve through southern Indiana. Looking toward the rear of the train. It's a photo run by for the passengers here. Where everybody detrains, stands trackside, the train passes, reverses, goes past the photo line by and runs by you at track speed. Well, we're back on board and headed through the countryside on another sweeping curve, crossing a county road. And we're on our way back And we're up at the DePaul cut that bypasses the tunnel that was on the main line years ago. The railway put this cut in to bypass the tunnel for the double stacks and larger loads. Another set of the block signals. And a rail fan standing in the vestibule of one of the coaches. Approaching the Duncan Tunnel at Edwardsville, Indiana. On an S curve here on the main line. People detraining in New Albany, Indiana. Now we're taking the train into the yards of the Kentucky and Indiana Terminal Railway in Louisville, Kentucky. Double track main line approaching the Kentucky and Indiana Terminal Railway Bridge.